All right. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Nick wasn't ready that time. He's usually the first one to say hello.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know if you saw the week that we ended up singing, harmonizing, hello.
Yeah.
That cracks me up. My kids thought that was the funniest thing ever.
I thought that was getting cut out, and nope. That was the first thing that people saw.
And you know what? I did not think he had the video on at that point yet.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, that's going to be on the video for everyone to see. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. Thanks. Yeah. So we're here with Natalie Michiels, right?
It's actually Michiels.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's French.
Thank you. I should have asked you that ahead of time.
No.
I love that.
Thank you. It's my husband's.
You're like, it's my husband's. I love that.
No, but everyone says Michiels, and I just go with it. But
Yeah.
if you're asking, it's Michiels.
Michiels.
Oh.
Natalie Michiels. And your official title, my dear.
Yes. So I am Mrs. Wisconsin Petite 2024.
I love that. Yay! We have a real pageant
Yay.
queen here. My favorite. I'm so excited. All right. Well, let's get started.
In the know in the 920.
That's my daughter that does that.
So cute.
Oh, Nick's always jamming out,
Yeah. Warm up.
right? Well, all right. So I'm super excited to hear all the things. And Nick is also very versed in pageants.
No, Nick knows nothing about pageants and is here to learn.
He can learn. Exactly. All right. So tell us a little bit more about what, your title is, how you got all the things. Just tell us all the things, how you got started.
Okay, well, let's start with my title.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Petite USA is a pageant for women 5'6" and under.
Okay.
So I'm almost 5'4".
Okay.
And typically when I've competed, I'm one of the shortest women. So it's cool. It's for all of us 5'6" and under. And
I like that, representing the short girls.
I
Yay!
well, I've been this height for a very long time.
Right, yeah.
And then whoever wins at Petite USA goes on to Universal Petite.
Whoa.
And that pageant is on a cruise ship.
Oh.
Shush. So you're Mrs. Wisconsin Petite.
Yes. Yep.
And so then you go on to the national competition.
Nationals is in 3 weeks in Chicago.
That is so cool.
Yes. And then hopefully taking home that title and
Yes.
then representing petite women all over the USA and then going on to that cruise and winning that title too.
So I'll ask this in case there's somebody else that wants to know. Does the Mrs. imply that there's a Mr. Petite USA?
Yes. So actually, Petite USA has several divisions. They have teen, they have Miss, they have Ms, they have Ms. So there's all different. But yes, I'm in the married lady category.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
was wondering where the Mrs. comes from with that.
No, I do remember this because the only time I ever did it was the Miss Appleton pageant, part of the Miss America organization. And I do remember the rules are very strict. You cannot be married. You can, whoa, there's a lot of rules here.
It's like being an 1800s school teacher.
Seriously.
No husbands.
Yes. No. They wanted you to be a nun. So very cool. So how many other women do you think you'll be competing against?
So it's actually one thing I really like about competing as a Mrs. versus when I was a Miss is there really is a sisterhood. Like we have a group chat and we all talk, we all help each other with our projects, and it's a nice space.
Yes.
So I believe, I don't know the final count off the top of my head. I think there's like 30 of us married
awesome.
ladies. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yes.
So what did you do to prepare to get to this, to win, to get to this point?
So my first pageant was in 2009.
Okay.
Miss Beloit.
Oh.
So you did part of the Miss America
I did not place.
situation.
I had no idea what I was doing. I had so much fun, though, and it really did help my confidence. So I went on. I've competed, I think, 6 times now. And every time I compete, I learn more about myself. But I realized there's something called coaches. So I end up getting a coach, and she helped me so much with just kind of clearing up what my purpose was, what I wanted to do with pageantry, and help me walk. I am a speed walker, so help me slow
She's
down.
like, just Yep.
Yeah.
Take it down a notch.
She's like,
Yep.
you paid a lot of money on this dress.
Yes.
Take your time.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, having a coach has helped a lot. And one part of pageantry I really appreciate is it's not just the physical part. There's interview. So you're working on your community involvement, you're working on your fitness, you're working on your overall poise and just yourself generally. So I don't know, it's been a lot of prep.
I love that. So you've been competing in pageants since 2009. I love that because I feel like, and I actually said this to my husband after the Miss Wisconsin pageant, but going into it, I didn't even know the history. But then I found out that this year's Miss Wisconsin was the runner-up last year. And I think and then the runner-up the second runner-up from last year was the first runner-up, right? And I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, it seems like you kind of have to do it for men. I remember, too, when I was in Miss Appleton, and I took second.
So you should have tried again.
Yes. The girl that won the girl that was actually giving up her crown that year said that she had done it 4 times. And honestly, I would have totally done it again the next year. They didn't have a Miss Appleton pageant the next year.
That's right.
I could have went on to, I guess joined Miss Green Bay or here or there, wherever, but that kind of just took the wind right out of my sails. Yeah. But it feels like the people that, I don't feel like there's a lot of women that go into it and win the first time, right?
There are, and you hear about them, right? Because it's rare.
Yeah.
But there's so much that goes into it that you kind of have to do a lot of prep and try a few times.
Yes.
For sure.
Right. Yeah, because you can tell, when I was watching Miss Wisconsin, she had the poise and like you said, the walk and all of the things. And so.
Well, that's part of what I want to do if I win the national title, is there's so much in pageantry that people don't know about or they feel silly asking. So I want to do Sisterhood Saturday chats where I'll be on Zoom and I'll just be the Petite USA handbook and they can come on, ask me questions. I can share tips and tricks. We can have different themes.
Yeah.
But there's just questions you're like, okay, do I say thank you after that question? Or, just little etiquette things that people don't talk about and just creating that safe space to
I love that.
To ask.
My daughter, again, the one that I was telling you, she's very involved in dance. She takes 7 million dance classes a week, approximately. And she's very animated. She's very, everybody's always like, this girl needs to be on the stage and all things. But anyway, she's very short. And she's very short, the poor girl.
Very petite.
I don't think, so someday I could send her your way.
Yeah, we've already discussed she's not going to be a Rockette.
No, she won't be a Rockette unless they change their height requirements significantly. She wants to be on Broadway, though. That's her thing. When you ask her what she wants to do for a job, I want to be on Broadway. And I don't ever want to take any of that away from her because I think that would be amazing. I would follow her around. I would do all of it. I'd be the stage mom, whatever. But I feel like she really thinks that what we're going to do is we're going to walk into an auditorium in New York and there's just going to be producers there or whatever. And she's just going to go up on the stage and sing a song. And now she's in Annie or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's ma'am, there's lots of steps that probably need to happen between here in Kimberly, Wisconsin and you on Broadway.
Well, it does.
But I love her confidence.
Does Outagaming County have, so in Janesville, we had Spotlight on Kids. So I would get pulled out of class to go do theater stuff. So is there? There's
some pretty good, and I'm actually starting to look into that, the theater aspect of it more, because she really does like it. And even the lady, we were at Tropical Snow the other night. We go there 4 times a week. Shout out to Tropical Snow. She's like, you need to be in movies, Tori, because Tori, she's just so animated. But anyways, this is about you. So now, tell me more about what sparked your interest in this?
Well, like many individuals around my age, pageants were on TV back in the day. And I thought Miss America was equal to being president.
100%.
Right?
Me
and
too.
I was like, okay, these women are gorgeous. And then they would talk about them as they're walking on stage.
Yes.
And they have their masters. They're doing this in their community. And it was just, wow, they are so amazing.
Yes.
And I wanted to be that when I grew up.
I love that.
So I would talk about, I want to do pageants. And just, I was told I wasn't the pageant type. And financially, it just really wasn't in our cards. So then when I was in college, I worked at a campground.
Okay.
And my boss at the time, he was like, well, let's put a jar and like people can put money towards like supporting you to do a pageant.
That.
So I did that. I did some other fundraising, and I was able to put myself in my first pageant when I was 21.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't place, but
That's
I
okay,
learned
but you
so
learned,
much. And
right.
every time I compete, like there's only one winner.
Yep.
But there's so much you take away from it, and friendships too. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And you've already succeeded. You're
I'm
Mrs.
representing the best state.
Mrs. Petite, Wisconsin. I love that so much. Okay, so we've heard how you got started. We've heard kind of where, what it takes and where you are now. Now, tell me a little bit more about like do you have a platform? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about that.
All right. So SODA, Support Outfits, drives awareness for survivors of domestic violence.
So let me reiterate that. Support
Outfits
drives
awareness for domestic violence survivors.
Okay. I love that.
So I started this when I was 8. My mother and I escaped an abusive situation, and we were homeless for about 4 months. And this was the mid-'90s. My mom didn't know who to talk to, what resources were available to her.
Sure.
So I started SODA to create conversations, to help host drives.
Yeah.
And I've been going at this for almost 2 years, and I've been able to get into 37 domestic violence shelters in 10 states, plus Vancouver, Canada.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
That's so cool. Wow. Our stories are actually very similar. We do a lot of work with Harbor House and
Love Harbor House.
Yes. That's so cool. So like what kind of things are you doing with that?
Okay, so it started with, so I work for Meijer.
Okay.
And Meijer always gives money to the community during the holidays. There's different opportunities. And I presented Community Clothes Closet because they give clothing for free to people in need. And when we did the tour, they told us that underwear was in high demand, that was gold. So we were able to give them money. And then I learned about their event called Cool for School, which is coming up in August.
Okay.
So it's changed a little bit. But back in the day, when a kid would come, they would get 5 shirts, 3 bottoms, and a plastic bag of some gently used underwear and gym shoes.
Okay.
When I found out that these kids were getting used underwear, it broke me, because it's something that I don't know, for me, like there's simple things that I take for granted every day that I have.
Me too.
So I started doing underwear drives for Harbor House Community Clothes Closet.
I love that.
And it's been like last year I did it at the Great Dane in Madison for a domestic violence shelter in Madison. But the year prior I did it at Dairyland Brew Pub.
Okay.
And that was, we got over 800 units of underwear.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, shout out to Dory. She's amazing.
That's so cool.
But yeah, so just hosting drives is what kicked it off.
Yep.
And then I realized there's so many other ways to get involved too.
Sure.
So just talking to different domestic violence shelters are like, hey, if you just share our post so people know about us.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Right.
it's escalated
Get
from
the
there.
word out there, right? Get the word out there that there is help available, and it's not, I mean, it's always a scary step, I think, right? The whole situation is scary, but it's accessible to people. That's awesome. And I love what you're doing for the kids, because, oh my gosh, like you said, we take certain things for granted, live in our own bubbles a lot of times. I'm not blind to what's happening in the world, but a lot of it's happening right here in our own neighborhoods, and we don't even know it. I mean, I met with a lady. Luckily, I get out and I meet a lot of people. And I met with a lady about a year and a half ago that works in some capacity for like the entire school district, state of Wisconsin. And she said, Kelly, you would never imagine how many local children they have serious food insecurities, do not have proper clothes for school, cannot get school supplies. She said there's schools in this area that have washers and dryers in them because the kids cannot get clean clothing otherwise, and they wash them at school. Like, that just breaks my heart, blows my mind. So that's really cool that you're doing that.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like when COVID first happened, like that changed a lot of children's lives because like they weren't getting lunch anymore, and they didn't have some of those other facilities. So it's just like, that's a real eye opener for
it is, because again, it's like I'm not trying to be ignorant towards it, but we just live our daily lives, and then and it's like, holy cow, there's people that really need things, need help.
For sure, that was the underwear was my what can I do?
You're like, wait a second, yes.
And I love event planning, so
I do too.
I was like, okay, because I tried. So part of SODA is like sharing how you can get involved.
Sure.
And so originally, I have a son, and I was never like a kid person, but now that I have a son, I'm like,
yep.
I see babies like,
Yep.
So originally, when I talked to Laura at Harbor House, she was like, we need help in the child care center. So I volunteered. I did that a few times, but honestly, it was hard mentally on me. It brought back some memories for me, and it wasn't the right fit. So I was like, okay, what can I do if I can't work with these kids? Like, it's too much for me. So then I was like, well, I have no problem cold calling. I love like making an event. So
if you ever want to be a realtor, you're hired.
Thank you.
Cold calling is always like, everybody's like, I'm like, the worst thing they can say to you. Well, I mean, they could swear at you or something, but they're not going to reach through the phone and kill you. That's not going to happen.
Coach. So I worked at Coach back in 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
They would give me a stack of papers for people that had bought stuff like 2 years prior.
Okay.
And I'd have to call and
reach
be like,
out.
Hey, how's that bag doing?
You ready for another one?
Do you need a new one?
That is so interesting, because I've gotten those calls before too, and I always kind of wondered about that. Like, what are we really getting at here? Yeah.
Newbie. It's the newbie.
I love it. That's awesome. So you're doing amazing things. That is so cool.
Thank you.
So what else do you want to tell us about, like, your upcoming, experience? What kinds of, like, what are the things that you do when you compete? Like, I know the Miss America, there's a talent and there's a this and there's a that, right? What do you have? Do you have like evening gown and?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so this is my first time having fitness wear.
Okay.
Okay, let me break down all the competition parts.
Okay.
We have evening gown.
Okay.
We have fitness wear. And then we have interview.
Okay.
And then separate score is state costume.
Interesting.
And then if you make it to the finals, so Friday night is prelims.
Okay.
Saturday is finals. And if you make it to finals, you get to do an onstage question, which onstage question is my most favorite part. So
You like that?
I do. And I think it's the theater in me. I'm like,
Sure.
oh, I can talk on stage.
You're
Yes.
like, I got this. I got this.
But yeah, so this is my first time having to wear fitness wear, which typically it's always been swimsuits. And
I saw that at the Miss Wisconsin pageant. They were all in their little, I was telling these guys about it. I'm like, it was so interesting because they all came out like bouncing around in their little fitness outfits. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
and I did cheer back in the day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah, right.
But I'm excited because it's my first time competing in an area where you're wearing flats. Like you're wearing sneakers. You're not in heels. And
That's a good point.
so I've been actually practicing more my walking in fitness wear.
Sure.
Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to like stumble in my sneakers.
And that's
Right.
a weird thing to
Right.
kind of say too. Like I had to practice walking in shoes.
Yeah. No, but it's true. The walk is so important. Truly.
Huh,
Truly,
yeah.
Nick. The walk is
No,
very
I'm
important.
I'm imagining now, like that's like a whole. You got to know all these different things.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a whole different universe for
And you
you.
gotta do eye contact while you're walking.
Yes.
Eye contact.
You gotta be looking at the judges,
Yep.
smiling while you're walking, the whole thing.
Turn,
Yeah.
break, but then come back.
Yeah.
My ADHD could never just eye contact, not
You'd
existent.
be like, lights, cameras. What's happening? Oh, hi, Mom.
And when they're talking about you, you're supposed to like kind of ignore that they're talking about you, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, great. Okay, so you're going to be doing fitness wear. You're going to be doing evening gown. Now, evening gown always has interested me because what I would like to know is, and again, I never went further than Miss Appleton, so I had my own little evening gown, right? It was like one of my prom dresses that I wore for this. But I feel like once you get like more advanced like you, do they give you like options to pick from? Do you get like a budget, or is it just literally you have to go and do your thing?
Okay, a couple things.
Okay.
So I actually, when you compete, they tell you whatever you feel best in, whatever color, style, like complements you. The only rule is you can't show your feet. So you have to have it be floor length.
Okay.
Oh.
But I've judged pageants, and they really stress, like, it does not matter how much the dress costs. You're not judging the gown, you're judging the girl wearing the gown. So they're looking for it to be like tailored well, right? Like it fits you well. It doesn't matter that if you spent $500 or $50. Is it fitting you well? So for Petite USA, basically just said, hey, judges are gonna look at you overall. So there wasn't any, like, not a certain style or anything, just floor length and what you feel comfortable
So it's more like how you present yourself than the actual gown.
Correct.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I have to say though, I feel like
I know where you're going with this.
I'm not a judge. I am not a judge. But I will say, like, when we went to the Miss Wisconsin pageant, the winner, the Miss Wisconsin now, I really did feel like not only was her presentation amazing, but her like, I remember by that point in the competition, I said to my daughter, she's gonna win. Just so, don't you think there might be a little bit of that?
Okay. My mom says the same. My mom is so funny. So my friend competed at Miss Wisconsin USA this past month. It was like Wisconsin USA happened, and then the next one was America. But my mom was like, okay, so which girl, which gown? Because that's how she keeps track, is the gowns. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's what I might like in a gown is different than what you like in a gown, right?
So we can't, that's more of a personal, it's very objective.
I will say, the more sparkly it is, the more I'm like, it does grab my attention when there's sparkle. But yeah, overall, I'm mostly, honestly, like, I don't know if it's just from competing or from judging, but I'm more focused on, like, how is she comfortable?
Yeah.
Does she, like, is she moving one arm more than the other? I'm more looking.
I would probably be like, you definitely cannot wear one of those gowns that they wear to the Met Gala where they can't even get up the next stair.
Like,
somebody's
so
lifting
tight.
them up. Yeah, you're just like, hi. That's not going to work.
You're like Lady Gaga dressed like a French fry or something.
Someone has to, like, pick you up and carry you up the steps.
Not going to work. Not going to work. So you probably practice, like, walking in that too, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So I had previous pageant. So Mrs. Wisconsin United States, they're not doing a pageant this year, but they had steps. So I would have to practice. So imagine this. You're going up the steps.
Oh, Lord.
But you don't want to, like, hold your dress, and you want to look back at the judges at the same time.
For me, that's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
That is a trip and fall.
Because you see that all the time at, like, award shows and stuff where it's like somebody's going to get their Grammy and they, like, tumble.
Yep. That would be, that's scary.
But even, like, if you fall, it's how do you recover, right? Like, do
Okay.
you get up and then you just keep going?
Sure.
So there's a lot of, like, how you handle it.
I love that. Okay, so then there's an interview. Do you do the interview before the actual, like, on-stage pageant, right?
Yes. So Wednesday, I believe it's July 31st, is we check in.
Okay.
And then we get orientation. We meet everybody in person. I feel like we virtually have all chatted quite a bit.
That's cool. So now you're going to all get to come together.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. And then on Thursday is interview. And then Friday is prelims. And then Saturday is finals. So interview is only like 2 or 3 minutes long.
Really?
I know.
How many judges are there, roughly?
I believe there's 5.
Okay. Where do they try to pull judges from?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was, like, a certain thing that they look for, you know? Because I've watched, like you, growing up, I've always watched the pageants. I remember watching them with my grandma when I was little, and I would have my little... Again, I think I'm a judge. I'd have my little scorecard, and I would be, like, keeping track of, okay, this one, I'm going to give her an 8 out of 10. Like, it wasn't even a real scoring system, but it was my scoring system, and it was fun. So, but I've always seen, like, different judges from all different, like, career paths and walks of life and things like that.
I will say, typically, just from my experience, you will normally have one judge that they call a novice that has... no pageant background.
Okay.
But is, like, involved in the community quite a bit.
Sure. Okay. So only a couple minutes. So you go in there. Are you, like, standing at a podium?
I believe we're sitting.
Oh, okay. That's even better, right?
So, yeah. So for interview, this one, there's 2 styles of interview typically.
Okay.
Round robin or panel. And this is panel. So panel would be I come, sit down, there's a table, all 5 of them are right there. And then it's just, they kind of, there's no particular order. Like
Sure.
they all get to ask questions.
Okay.
Round robin, you have to like get up, go to a table, go to another table.
Oh, Lord. Whew.
Which I'm like winded by the time
Yeah.
I'm on the last. I'm like,
Can I have a glass of water? Is there water in here, anybody? Okay, so does your coach help you prepare? Like, obviously, you don't know what they're going to ask you.
mm-hmm.
But is it sort of like, hey, you know what? We might really want to kind of touch on these topics or really brush up on our current, right? Like current events or things like that.
Yeah.
I would be so scared.
So something cool about Mrs. Pageants, at least the ones I've done, is they don't ask you too much current events. It's mostly how are you able to, you know, most of us are moms. You're married. You have a career. You have a mission.
Yes.
Like so, they mostly want to know about you and what you're doing and what your plans are if you are that title holder.
Sure.
So yeah, I have
cool.
had where they have asked questions like that, but not too much.
Okay. I like that because that's really what it's all about, right?
Yeah, like
what you're going to do.
What kind of stuff do they ask about?
Okay.
Oh, it can be. Well, I mean, yeah, you can do this. I feel like it can be scary.
They always ask some variation of "Tell me about yourself,"
Okay.
and then they'll typically ask like, "Why do you want to be Mrs. Petite USA? What was your favorite part of preparing for the pageant? What's your marketing plan?" Back when I was at
marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness.
Whew.
Back when I was at Miss Beloit, they asked me what my favorite war was, and I was like,
I hate all war. War is bad.
"Yeah."
Is that one of those like trick questions, like when you're in a job interview and they're like, "Tell us what your weakest, thing is, or what's the weakest quality about you?" And you're like, "Okay, I have to come up with something that makes me."
You're like, oh, I got 4 or 5 to choose from.
No, no, you have to be like, "Well, it's just that I'm too dedicated to my work."
Yeah.
Like you have to find.
Yeah.
It's like a trick question, right? Like
Yes.
you're not going to say like, "Well, you know what? I come in 2 hours late every day. That's my weakest link here." You know.
Well, and I feel like I did it to myself because, okay, so when you go into interview, you give them basically like your bio paper and it has things about you. But when I did Miss Beloit, I think one of it was like, what's your favorite subject in school or something?
Sure.
And I put history.
Yeah.
So I probably like walked into that one, which is
And then they're like, "What's your favorite war?" You're like, "I'm sorry, I don't have a favorite. I never thought about it that way."
Yes.
Did you come up with an answer?
You know, that was so long. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you guys, that pageant, I actually had a concussion.
Oh no.
So the day before, I was at rehearsals, and there were these big metal blocks that we could hang our clothing on.
Yeah.
Because we all got like a little nook
Yep.
to get ready. And I don't know what happened, but my metal block with my dresses fell down and
Oh
smacked me in the head. I forgot where I lived. I couldn't do 100 minus 7. Like, because they're asking me just kind of like some simple math questions. And then the next day I went into interview, and at the end of interview, I remember being like, "I'm so sorry, I have a concussion."
Oh my gosh, this is a true the show must go on moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's tough. Holy
So I
cow.
don't remember how I answered that, but I do remember that question stuck with me. I was like, I'm never putting I like history.
Yeah, right. Let's not go there anymore. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I feel like you've got this nailed with this interview. You're gonna do just fine.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. So, and then there's an onstage question though too. Now, is this where you like go up and pick a thing from the fishbowl?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I love that.
Ooh.
Nick, you're not aware of.
I'm not
even
aware of this
that?
part. I'm listening.
Do you know what? Okay, so he's my brother. You may have gotten that from past podcasts. He's way younger than me, 12 years. But I feel like, why did I never get you into I watched all the pageants.
Yeah, why weren't you with your scorecard?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you pretty much moved out after high
Good
school,
point.
so
You were
you only
you were
lived with me
very
until I
young.
was like 6.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, fine. So on stage, a lot of times they have like a little, like literally each girl goes up, right? Each do we call them contestants?
Yes.
Okay. Each contestant goes up and they pick like and it's just random and you have to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
Or it'll say like the judge's name and then the judge asks the question, right? And then you have to answer it. Scary. So what kind of questions do they ask you then? Is that also kind of like platform based, or is that more like, what's your favorite war?
Yeah. So the last onstage question I had, I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically like, why is your marriage successful?
Oh,
And
okay.
my answer, I don't remember word for word,
Sure.
but basically my husband and I are a team.
Sure.
We're really big on communicating and in the moment communication, because I don't want to have something fester or have like an argument in my head about how it will go. So in the
Hold
moment,
on to it for a couple of days. I've done that plenty of times. I'm like mad and just, yes.
he's already forgotten about
Yep.
it. So I am really big on in the moment saying, hey, X, Y, and Z. That felt, I would have preferred, and he does the same thing. So we both travel a lot for work.
Okay.
So communicating in the moment and then with our schedule. So just
Yeah.
making sure we always are talking and always keeping each other in the loop has been very helpful.
I love that. Especially once you bring a child into the mix too, right? And it's like coordinating all the schedules. I know so much of like my husband and I's conversations are like on a daily basis are just so business related, Hey, are you getting Tori from dance? Am I? Are you getting the milk from the grocery store, or am I? What are we doing? How's this going to work? It's just a constant like scheduling.
Is it on the calendar?
Uh-huh. If it's not on the calendar, in my opinion, it doesn't exist. I live and die by my calendar. That's just the way it is. Yep, absolutely. And my husband is attached to my calendar because bless you, Bill, but you're not a very big planner. And so we have one of those like Amazon Echo shows like in our hallway. And so the calendar is linked to that. And so he can't get away with, well, I didn't see it on the calendar, because it's right there. That's a really good answer, though. I like that.
Thanks.
That's very good.
It's what we do. So
It's like you've practiced that.
I might be like, I gotta think about this one for a minute. It's timed too, right?
well, you don't want to go on too long, right?
Yeah.
But real quick about you with pageants.
Yes.
My husband's name is Nick, and
Oh.
he also didn't know anything about pageants.
Okay.
But now he knows so much.
So much.
He gives me tips on walking. He'll be like, I want more hips.
I love that.
He'll run through interview questions. He'll give me his feedback. Like he'll be like,
so cool.
yes. So I say Crystal KV is my coach, but my other coach is my husband, Nick.
I love that. That's awesome, though, when they support you and they get on board. And yeah, that's great. That's like when I told my husband I want to start this podcast, and he's an IT guy, like I said earlier, so he was all about the equipment and all the things. But it's just nice, whatever you're doing, if you have that support from the other person.
100%.
That's like one of my favorite parts of the Olympics too, is like you see some gymnasts like doing their flips, but then like their family is all like, oh, he's doing the thing.
Yes, like they know.
They know
that
the
was
routine.
a triple blah, blah, blah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like,
right.
oh, they nailed it so cleanly. I'm like, I don't know.
Was that good or not?
It looked good.
Yeah, it looked good to me. Well, this is just so exciting. So, okay, so now if you win, then you go to,
Universal Petite.
oh my gosh.
I know.
Whoa.
And then it's
I
like
know.
women from across everywhere.
5, 6, and under all over the place. So
All these little short girls.
which is really cool is the last Universal Petite USA took home the win.
Okay,
So
very cool.
let's keep this going.
Yes. That would be so cool. I feel like you're ready for this. You got this.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your platform. I mean, I think that's such an important part of it, right?
Thank you. And I'm excited too is a part of getting into pageantry as a missus was we were talking about how business everything was. So I was like going to work, coming home, and which I love my family, but I just didn't really have a lot of like close girlfriends that lived in town anymore, or we kind of all moved away. And with pageantry, there's this like, there truly is like a little community of sisterhood of like buddies you get. And it's been really nice to, like with SODA, I've been able to partner with 11 queens this year from 5 different systems to help me with fundraising.
That's
So
cool.
Wow.
it really is like, I don't know.
You have something, trust me, I totally get that. I worked far too many hours for far too many years, and all of a sudden I was like, what do I like anymore? What do I do, And I finally kind of started getting back to that, which is great, because you need to have other things besides just go to work and your like again, you love your family, but it's like
Something
okay,
for you.
yeah, something for you. Yeah, that's awesome.
And my husband has Tuesday night game nights with his boys.
I love that. It works.
Yeah,
right.
so.
It works. What kind of games do they? Is it like poker?
Oh no, he Settlers of Catan.
Oh, this is like
So
this
her
is
husband's
right up.
cool.
I was just gonna say this is right up Nick's alley.
Oh my
okay.
goodness. So my husband has like a whole shelf of board games. Like he goes to Boardlandia, he goes to all
That's
like the
so cool.
Yeah, and he'll just like buy a game. Like he doesn't know
Yeah.
anything about it. He just like go read them like, oh okay.
That's awesome.
And they're like not short games. They're like what is that?
Yeah.
Well,
Intense.
Yeah.
Oh, next time you're on your way to Door County in Sturgeon Bay, there's a cafe called the Noshery. It's they're part of Gnome Games, so it's a cafe where you can like sit and order lunch and stuff, but you can also like pick out some of the games that they sell in the store. You can just play them while you're eating lunch.
That's
Look at this.
cool. Okay,
Look at this little game nerd.
Well, you see
I say that
gnome
with all the
games.
affection in the world.
Yeah.
And I know, I'm like, I think they may. I'm like thinking of like I've seen the little picture.
Yeah, that is so funny. I love that. Okay, so let me ask you a burning question that I wonder about the pageant queens.
Yes,
What do you need? When do you have a crown?
I do.
Of course you do. When do you have to wear it? Are there certain times you have to wear it, not wear it? Are you not allowed to wear it certain times? Because I feel like, again, when I was at the Miss Wisconsin pageant, like Miss Illinois was there, which, by the way, my daughter, she sat in the row before us, and my daughter was like, Tori was like, she has to win. She has to win now because I met her. And I'm like, okay, but we want to probably cheer for Miss Wisconsin. Anyways, but she was just like so like pageant queen, right? But they all had their crowns and their sashes on.
Okay, so I'm not an expert on all systems crown etiquette,
Sure.
but typically, so if you're attending a pageant that you're not part of or it's not your system, you don't want to wear your crown. So
Okay.
like when I go and watch, because I have a lot of friends in other systems, and
sure.
I love going and watching.
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
them, right?
We both do.
Yeah,
I know. I love it.
So I never wear my crown, but I always wear
Okay.
my sash.
Okay.
And then when I'm doing events, so if I'm doing an appearance, like a parade, I wore my crown.
Okay.
But if I'm doing an appearance where I'm like getting like sorting donations,
Hands-on.
I'm not wearing my crown. I might throw my sash on for the photo, but then I'm taking it off and I'm
Sure.
like working, right?
Right.
It just
Right.
kind of depends if I'm at a booth. I
Yeah.
might wear my sash and my
Yeah.
crown. It kind of just depends on the environment. But most pageants, if you're not in that system, you typically don't wear your crown.
Got it. Like
So that
to
explains
go
why
there.
she would
Sure.
wear it, because she's
in the same system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would want to wear that crown a lot.
You'd be sitting here at work just
I'd be like, you know what? I just wearing my crown today. Another interesting, well, I thought it was interesting thing that I noticed is it felt to me like they've gotten better at fastening the crowns. Like I saw Vic, this is a big deal.
Bobby pins.
Bobby
and-
pins is what they used to use. And so they would announce the winner on stage, right? And then last year's winner would come over and do the crown bobby pins. And so then she has to do like her little walk and she's got her flowers
Oh,
and she's
yes.
waving to the audience and all the things. And the crown is usually like tipping off, right? I noticed they were like using barrettes.
Yes. And it's funny when you talk about, we were talking about like what we would pay attention to.
Yeah.
So I look at that, but also I had, when I competed at Miss Beloit, one of the directors, she's like, now when you win, when you wave, you're not scratching a back.
Oh my gosh.
And now when anyone waves,
You
I'm
think
like,
about that.
I'm like, you're not scratching a back.
I love that. So what is the wave?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
What is your
Yeah.
wave? What is your wave? Let's see it.
So yeah, just a nice cup.
Okay.
So
I can't
you know,
even do it.
just
Yes.
I'm not gonna like.
Right.
Just
right.
maybe-
Not too aggressive.
Yes.
Got you.
Excited,
Yes.
right? But
But not aggressive. Excited, not aggressive. Just the right amount of exclamation points.
Right.
Not too many, right? I love that. Oh my gosh, the whole world is the whole pageant world is so fascinating to me. So can you talk about like if you win, like what you get? Do you win prizes, money?
yes. Okay. So I'm so bad at knowing the whole prize package.
Yeah.
I have looked over it, and there's a lot of great sponsors.
Sure.
One part of it that I'm like, ooh, you get to go to New York Fashion Week?
Ooh.
No.
That would be super cool.
And we have some really cool sponsors like Go Bling Yourself for earrings, Mark Dufang shoes. So there's a lot of vendors that I already use that are like sponsors. So I was like, okay, yes.
Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. So cool. The whole thing is just so fascinating to me. So is there anything else that you want to tell us about the pageant world, your platform, anything?
Honestly, if there's anyone that's interested in pageants, whether, it's for your child or for yourself, like explore it. There's so many systems out there. If you're 5, 6 or under, give me a call.
Yes.
But there's a seat at the table for you. Like
sure.
For a long time, I didn't think I was the pageant type, but I am.
You totally are.
It's so much fun.
You totally are.
You get to do amazing things in the community and sometimes wear a sparkly dress.
And a crown.
And a sparkly hat.
A sparkly hat. Now, let me ask you this, because this has been my back and forth in my brain is, and I think a lot of moms probably worry about this, right? So I've thought about and I've been close to getting my daughter in pageants already. But then I think about I don't know why. But and I say this with all the respect in the world, but my brain goes to JonBenet Ramsey.
Right.
And I don't want it to be do you feel like that's changing where it's not just about a little girl with all this makeup and big hair and who's the prettiest?
Yes. So I actually was able to judge a pageant last fall where there was littles under the age of 12, and they were not allowed to wear makeup.
Oh, good.
So even their headshot, they could have mascara and lip gloss,
sure.
but otherwise no makeup. So like I said, there's many different systems, and I feel like the JonBenet or the Toddlers and Tiaras, they're on TV, right? So you see
it always is a big production.
But there are a lot of systems that don't
sure.
let them wear makeup.
Sure. And promote confidence.
Yes, and public
poise
speaking.
And right. Yes.
So, and then also with the talent portion, I know I was not a singer, but I know a lot of friends of mine that got into pageantry because they love dancing or they wanted to sing on stage. So if there's a talent piece, that's the America system is great for that.
Yeah. I love it. I feel like you really could be the go-to for this. Thanks. If Tori decides to so people can reach out to you. I feel like you have a lot of connections. You know all about the system. Anything else?
No, but we do need to talk about houses really quick.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's right. You're renovating, right? You said you're renovating your house.
Yes. So our house was built 1900.
Okay.
1900. It's old.
Yeah.
Stone foundation. You go in the basement, it's got the...
Yes. And it's got good bones.
Okay.
So it is a multi-family home.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
it's big.
Yeah. So we currently are living in the lower unit and renovating the upper unit.
Okay.
Where in the we started with the lower, we've been kind of going back and forth because there's quite a bit of work to be done in the area. But so my husband's doing a lot of it. We've hired an electrician because I don't want him to get hurt.
There's certain things we hire out, right?
Yeah. And my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, they have flipped, I'm not exaggerating, probably 15 to 20 houses in their lifetime. So they're a good resource. And so Nick, my husband's used to living in chaos and renovation. I was just going
to say, how do you feel about that? That's really hard for me.
Okay, I grew up with a single mom. We lived in apartments. I've never mowed a yard.
Yeah.
I've never
You're like, what is all this work?
Yes.
What is this?
And I feel bad because there's certain things where he'll be working on it, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. This is so out of my element.
Yes.
I'm like, I'll go do the dishes and help with housework while he's doing the wood floors. So we pulled back all the vinyl on the floor, and there was the original wood floors underneath. So he's been sanding and making that look all pretty again.
Yep. It's a big job. I mean, it looks really great in the end, but yeah, it's a big job. I agree with you. So we grew up, I don't know if you really remember this, Nick, but the house that we lived in when my mom so this was my stepdad, bought it, it was green, lime green, the whole house, lime green, inside, outside. It was like somebody took
On Rogers?
Correct.
Because when I was born, that house was only 7 years old.
No.
It was built in 86.
Should we call Mom?
Bring around.
Well, it was when they moved in. It was lime green.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. So they did a lot of things, but I know what you're talking about because, and God bless him, but he was very handy, but there was always a project. I remember for the longest time, like all of the trim in the house was off because it was being redone. It just felt, and my brain, and my husband knows this, doesn't do well with that. I'm very type A. I get very overwhelmed. It just feels like I need that peace and calm in my space. So like recently he made us a table and it's beautiful. This awesome kitchen table. I mean, if we went to buy that somewhere to be, several $1,000s. But oh my God, the what is it? Sawdust, whatever, in the garage and all the things. There were days that I thought, I'm not sure if we're all going to live to see tomorrow. I told him that is going to be the last garage project. Maybe we need to get you like a little woodworking space.
Shed.
Yes. So how do you feel about that?
I have to keep reminding myself that it'll be worth it because our plan is eventually we'll have 2 renters. And
I was going to ask you that.
We'll have a single family home.
Okay.
It's taking a little bit longer than we planned.
Sure.
But yeah. So
everything does.
So I'm hoping, at least maybe 3-4 years we'll have that single family home.
Sure.
But yeah, it's
so you guys are renovating this. You're living in the lower, renovating the upper, but then obviously the lower will get, and then you're going to rent the whole thing out, and you guys are going to go buy something else.
Yes.
That's so smart, though. Honestly, it really, really is.
Thank you. It was all Nick's idea because I was like, oh, okay. He's like, we have to do, like, this is like what we should do. And I'm like, I trust your opinion. You are right. But this part is kind of tricky. Yeah. And like, especially with my pageant wardrobe, I'm like running around with it. I'm like, I don't want anywhere near this.
I don't need any sawdust on this dress.
Oh, yeah. We had the electricians come. I'm like, well, I got to move all my stuff out of that room.
Yeah. Like, great. It will be worth it, though. Honestly, and Nick, I'm sure you would agree, we have sold thousands of homes, and some of the most well-off people, that we know, it's the investments.
Yeah.
Really, truly.
Like 5 years from now, you're going to be like, man, I'm so glad we took the time to do that.
I wish I would have done it younger, really, truly. And now the hard part is that I'm really making real estate sound glamorous right now. But you know what? I'm real about it. The tough part is right now is it's hard to buy an investment property because pricing is at,
Well, and everybody wants to be Chip and Joanna too, so.
Well, and that's true too. Everybody wants to be Chip and Joanna, and not everybody is Chip and Joanna, right? I always ask people that when they say we're not afraid of a project.
Are you?
I say, define project to me, because project to some people is cosmetics, like, okay, well, we're going to paint the cabinets and we're going to redo the floors or whatever. And then project to other people is like, well, we can straighten the basement walls if needed, and
we'll take out a couple floor joists, move the staircase. Yeah.
Right? Project is different to everybody. So we always have to be very careful with that.
Yeah, project for me is like, I'll paint. I can paint.
Yeah.
Project for my Nick is what you just said. Like, we could take that wall down. That's not load bearing.
Right.
Like, what is load bearing?
Yeah, you're like, I'm sorry, what's load bearing? I might run into a stud. You're like, wait a second, a stud? What is that?
Do you guys ever watch Love It or List It? I know it's done now, but oh my gosh, Hillary and David. I want to be friends with them.
I loved that show so much. But you know what? Again, in that world, it was always like, there was always a major problem, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess that is pretty realistic. You do run into things as you go. But it was always like, oh, what's the problem going to be?
Hillary needs more money.
Yeah, what's it going to be? Yes. Always needed more money. Always needed more money. Yep, more money, more time. And that's why, too, when my husband says, like, we need to renovate we have one room left in our house that hasn't been updated, and it's our primary bathroom. Mm-hmm. And it is straight out of 2003 when the house was built. So it's not that old, but 2003 and 2024 are very different in terms of what looks nice. And so it's not bad. It's very functional, but it drives me absolutely nuts every time I look at it. And it's so hard to do that because he can do a lot of it, but he also has a full-time job and we have 2 children. And he's like, I can do it in a week. And I'm like, okay, so that really means a month. So which bathroom am I using? I mean, we have other bathrooms, but it's not very convenient, right? You take everything out of there, put it somewhere else. So then the bathroom sits.
Well, it's a good point because, like, for us, too, Nick is doing this on the weekends. So
It's a lot.
Yes, yeah.
You know, isn't adulting fun? Like, this is what we do. Maybe take a couple trips to Home Depot.
Play some board games
right?
on a wall.
I love it. That's
what you really
awesome.
need is just like Ty Pennington to come and be like, you're taking a week vacation.
Yes, go away.
We're going to do the
come
bathroom.
back. Yes. What show was that again?
Extreme Home Makeover.
Extreme Home Makeover.
But me and Tyga before then, do you remember, was it Trading Spaces?
Yes.
He was the...
Yes. I loved that show.
See, I didn't grow up doing the renovations. I grew up watching
it.
it on TV.
It was fun to watch.
Yes.
It's always fun when it's somebody else's project. Yeah. When it's your own, it's like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me in my own house for as long as I used to bounce around all over, like when I was back in my 20s in apartments and I want to go live here and do this and whatever. But now it's like we've been in our house since 2015 because I don't want to move because it's a pain in the butt. Right? Moving is, I tell every client that, not going to lie. It's worth it in the end if you're going to buy something that you really love, you know, but it's, again, that was another moment where I wasn't sure if we were all going to come out alive after the last one. So it tends to get a little, you know, whew.
I do try to brace people like, this is going to be the worst week of your life for a little while.
Yeah.
Get them in the right mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Just like pageantry.
Manage right? Yes. Manage expectations ahead of time. Yes. 100%. I love that. Well, I'm just so glad that you came in, and I just feel like I just love you. You just have such a great spirit, and you're doing such good things, and we wish you all of the luck in the world at the upcoming pageant.
Thank you.
You're going to win. I'm putting that out into the universe. Yeah. We got to put those things out there, right? Yeah. Yes.
Good vibes.
All right. So I'm going to go through a couple weekend events because we like to share those as well. And I forgot. We now have a little weekend event intro.
Ooh.
Are you ready for this? Tori did this the other day.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. It's really not that. It's wonderful, Tori. It's the best thing ever.
We love you, Tori.
Let's see what's happening this weekend in the 920.
Very well done.
Isn't that fun?
Okay.
All right. So, Friday, which is already July 12th.
I know.
What the heck? I find myself saying that most of my life. Like, it's already the 4th of July? Every year I say that.
More than half the year's gone already.
It's Halloween. I can't believe it's Christmas. Like, will I ever just understand that that's how time works?
Swimsuits at Meyer marked down already.
I know. School ads.
I know.
Yep. Costco's got all of their Halloween displays out now.
It's just too much. It's too much. All right, but anyways, Friday, outdoor family movie night. That's fun. Head to Doyle Pool. So that's Doyle Park in Little Chute. For a nighttime swim. Oh, so you get to swim and watch a movie screening at our free dive-in movie night with free admission to Doyle Pool for swimming and fun activities.
Nice.
Concession stand will have snacks for sale during the event. This event begins at 6:30. And then at dark, a family movie, which is Trolls Band Together, will be played on a screen on the edge of the pool. That's fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love it.
Fun.
Also, yes. Okay. I've heard a lot about, I've been watching this family on, that sounded kind of creepy. I've been following this family on Facebook. Amanda Cupcakes at Sophia's Make-A-Wish Lemonade Stand. So Sophia's Make-A-Wish Lemonade Stand is happening on Friday. And I know she's got like a bunch of different, it's not just gonna be lemonade. She's got vendors coming. Like it's gonna be a really cool event. So Sophia's hosting a lemonade stand on Friday to give back to Make-A-Wish after having her wish granted.
Oh.
Yep. I asked Sophia to design a cupcake and I'll bring it to, this is Amanda saying this. Amanda Cupcakes is saying she asked Sophia to design a cupcake and she's gonna bring it to life to sell at the lemonade stand. She designed an over-the-top glittery brownie themed cupcake.
Cute.
She says, I'm going to bake it into reality. You can come to her lemonade stand for one of your very own. Sophia designed and Amanda baked cupcakes in the name of an amazing cause. I think this event is going to be really cool.
That's
and I know they're
super
having
cool.
other food there and things. It's really neat. Starts at 1 o'clock, goes to 5 o'clock, 557 Ferncliff, all one word, Ferncliff Drive in Kaukauna. Friday. Pretty cool, hey?
Yeah.
I love that. On the 13th, wait, is the 12th Friday?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Actually, sure, I'm telling people the right day. The 12th is Friday. The 13th is Saturday then. That's how that works. So, Gnarly Grain Coffee Company grand opening. Interesting. Join us for a day filled with delicious coffee, exciting giveaways, and great vibes. Whether you're a coffee connoisseur or just looking for a cozy spot to relax, Gnarly Grain Coffee Company has something special for everyone. Free coffee for the first 5 customers. Well, that could go real fast. You better get in line early.
Yeah, it's like a car of people.
Okay. Maybe people camping out overnight. Every item you purchase earns you an entry to win amazing prizes with hourly prize drawings. It starts at 7 a.m. So again, better get there midnight, Friday night. 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is N2894 Highway 47 in Mackville. N2894 Highway 47 in Mackville. Gnarly Grain Coffee Company. Okay. And this other one for Saturday. This is like right up my alley. And I tried to get tickets for Saturday. They are sold out actually for this Saturday. But I still wanted to share this because there's other dates that are still available. Nooks and Crannies Tour at the Hearthstone.
Ooh.
So there is one happening on Saturday. That one is sold out, but there's several others coming up. So, and I got my tickets because I was like, well, geez, I didn't realize it was going to be this popular. So I have mine for like the middle of August.
You love the Hearthstone.
I do. Well, I love old houses.
I've never been.
Ooh, you need to go.
It's very cool.
It's very cool. First home that had electricity.
Oh.
Well, hydroelectric.
Yes, excuse me.
Let me push my glasses up.
Hydroelectric. But yeah, it's just beautiful. And they have a lot of different events. We went there around Christmas time last year. Every room, they were doing the 12 days of Christmas.
Okay.
So every room had different decor. And I mean, they go all out. Then we went there one time for a murder mystery party.
Cool.
That was super cool. I just love old houses. Like, I'm always like, if these walls could talk, you know? I love that. So this is Behind the Scenes, special limited tour. Hearthstone's curation director, Lynn Phillips, will take you through the museum to peer into the nooks and crannies that make Hearthstone special, which I think is awesome because last time we were there, I do remember Tori saying several times, I want to go up to the 3rd floor. And that was like roped off. So I think you get to see all the things that you don't usually get to see and hear different things. So I think that's really cool. This particular one on Saturday, again, is sold out, but you can get tickets for upcoming ones, hearthstonemuseum.org. And it's $15. It's not bad.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's what's happening in the 920. And we've got our pageant queen that's going to win and just do all the things. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again so much for being with us. And anything that we can do too to, you know, push out your mission and your platform, we would love to do. So
Thank you. I'll share my socials with you.
please do. Would you like to say them now?
Oh, sure.
Please do.
Oh, thank you. So on Instagram, it's Natalie, NATALIE MICHIELS. That's on Instagram. And then Soda, so SODA, it's the Soda Club, and that's on Instagram.
I like that. That's super cute. I'm going to Instagram it right now. As soon as we're done.
Thank you.
Very cool. Well, thank you again so much.
Thank
and we
you
wish you
both.
all the best.
Thank you.
Here we go. Now we got to do the ending.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. To contact the Kelly Davies Homes team for all of your buying and selling needs, call 920-791-9047. Find us on Facebook at the Kelly Davies Homes team or go to kellydavieshomes.com.